Hi, and welcome. Laissez bon temps rouler. We are celebrating Mardi Gras. Even though Fat Tuesday was last Tuesday, we had all of this planned, but we had some issues on the set. So anyway, we're doing it today. And the recipes, actually, that I'm going to show could be used all spring and for a derby party. So to help me do this is Leslie from Macadoodles. She is the wine room manager, and she has paired different wines and a cocktail to go with each dish. So Leslie, you can tell us a little bit about yourself?
I've been a wine room manager up at Macadoodles for about 20 years now, and it's been a great run. We have a lot of fun up there. So today I chose the wines based upon, I think, what would go best with that, with everything, and what would taste best. Not everything is wine because we do have the wine cocktail, but it does have wine in it for the French 75.
Cool. Well, I think it's a great, because when we first met and I showed you the recipes, you automatically, the wheels started turning and you're like, oh, well, we could do a Pinot with this. And I know somebody with your experience can look at a list of ingredients and that quickly know what to put with it.
What to pair with it.
Yes.
And a lot of it is pairing of, you don't want wines that get too sweet with food, and especially the foods that we have with the cheeses and the cream cheese in here, or the mayonnaise. You don't want wines to get too sweet, and we wanted to find things that were balanced, wines that were balanced with the acidity with fruit too. So I think that we've got a great wide variety of everything.
I think so. We have, starting with, I'm going to call it an appetizer, and this is, we start with cream cheese, and you want to soften it. I actually did use whipped cream cheese because you need to whisk it. Then you add a tablespoon of grated sweet onion and a half teaspoon of grated fresh garlic. Now, I'm going to talk about garlic graters. I cannot, for the life of me, use one that's a press. I did. When I saw this on TV, I got one of these little garlic graters. And the whole trick to making it work successfully, you first have to cut the garlic a little bit and then rock it back and forth. And then this is so easy to clean. You can just scrape it out, rinse it.
That's really nice because all you have to do is push down on it, then it's not rubbing the garlic against it.
Yeah.
And grating it that way.
Well, I know, because some people use microplanes.
I thought about microplane, yep.
Like, no.
That's so much easier. That's great. It's a great one.
Once I figured out that I couldn't do the whole thing, but if I cut it and started it, then it works great.
That was nice. Makes it a lot easier, especially for people who have bad hands. Our hands get not as strong as we get older.
You mean as we mature?
Yes.
Okay, so I do have a pecan spread to put on top of this, and it is made with butter, brown sugar, tap water, Worcestershire, and Creole mustard, cayenne pepper.
There's a lot of ingredients.
Then you melt your butter and put in everything except the pecans and stir it for about 5 minutes. You want it to get nice and bubbly and hot, and then just let it boil, keep an eye on it for 5 minutes. Take it off the heat. So I've put it into a little bowl, and hopefully we'll be able to get it out easily.
Hopefully.
It's it's been sitting for a little bit.
Right, it'd be more spreadable when it's still warm.
Yes.
Spread a little bit easier.
And when you make the cream cheese, after you put it on the plate, you want to put it in the refrigerator uncovered for 30 minutes. But then you also want it to soften a little bit for about 15 minutes before you spread your pecans on top.
Well, it looks like it's doing a pretty good job spreading right now. I chose the Pinot Noir to go with this dish because of all of the different spices, all the different flavors in it. You've got sweet, we have sweet brown sugar, there's Creole mustard in there. So there's a variety of spices in there. I think Pinot Noir, with the acidity and the fruit that's in there, nothing's going to stand out as any one flavor. It's just going to stay nice all the way through. So it won't get too sweet, of the richness of the cream cheese and the richness of the butter will pair beautifully with this dish. You can also do a white wine. You could have a white wine, maybe something, maybe a French white wine, so nothing too oaky. Oak doesn't always pair well with a lot of things. So what we have now with the Pinot Noir is going to be great, though.
Okay.
And it spread beautifully.
It did. It did much better
It did.
than it did the other day. So, yeah, so then it's ready. And you serve it on
Crackers?
little butter crackers. Would you like to try it?
Sure.
Hopefully I can do this okay.
Hopefully it won't
We
fall
should've-
all over me. I do want to
I
try.
know we should have brought in a nap. Oh, well, wait, I do have. Don't I have another one? How is it?
It's wonderful. I love
Good.
this.
Okay. Too bad we can't open the wine, but that's okay. It's
And have
still
it with
early
the-
in the day.
The onion stands out. Mm-hmm. And everything else is just a tertiary flavor back there. It's really nice. Good choice. I'm glad I didn't eat the donuts in the back room earlier before this.
Yes, we have donuts today. Davis, one of our little cameramen, was kind enough to bring us other sweet treats other than our little king cake cupcakes.
Right.
So anyway, I really like the way that this turned out.
I do too.
I wasn't sure that if the garlic and the onions in the cream cheese were going to be too strong.
It's not overpowering at all. It's all kind of tempered, and then that sweetness is really kind of tempered too. That's really nice.
Yeah.
I think that Pinot Noir will go great with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Keep that in mind. And all of these recipes came from Southern Living. If you go online and look up Mardi Gras recipes, there's actually 39 recipes that I selected these from, which I kept looking, okay, what's going to be easy? What will work okay because we
works
don't
okay
have a
on camera?
kitchen? Yes. So very easy to find.
Perfect.
So we've got, okay, that's our appetizer. And you want to say anything about the shape of the wine glass?
I'm a true believer in shapes of wine glasses. It really does affect the flavor of wine. And I just wanted to bring a Pinot Noir shaped glass. I brought a stemless because I did not have a stem at work. But a Pinot Noir shaped glass, it just has a wider bowl, a little bit closed off on the top, and it just really enhances the flavor of wine. So the shape always changes the flavor of wine. And anyone can come up to the tasting bar and we can show that. We can just pour the same wine in different glasses, you know, see how different it tastes because it's very different.
So when you're doing a tasting, like if you were doing a tasting party, do you go through the swirl and sniff and all, or not really?
I think that, here, I'm going to use this. I think that people just like to swirl. It does open up the wine some, but if you've already aerated your wine, you don't really need to do that. For me, it's more of a nervous tick. But it does open it up. If you swirl it, it adds air to it. And opening it means, a great example and a good analogy is when, with gardening, flowers close up at night. They close up at night, so in the morning when the sunshine comes out, they open up and that's when they bloom. Wine does the very same thing. With air, it opens up and it blooms.
Good. We lived out of about 30 minutes from Napa Valley for about 3 years and
Nice.
would go and do tasting. And, you know, one thing we learned is how do you first swish it because of the
mouth?
taste, yes, and then actually taste it.
Yep.
You know, it's like, so we do that all the time. Totally different from bourbon.
It's the same with food too, and I always tell people at the tasting bar, you've all heard me say this many times, I say the same thing over and over, always take a couple of sips. The first sip that you take, or the first bite of any food that you take, just takes the taste out of your mouth. There's always a taste in your mouth, so what that does is that removes it, and you swish the wine around in there because you want to cover all bases in your mouth so you taste everything that the wine has to offer. Second sip is where you're starting to actually taste with the wine. Third sip, you've got it down. Then it's just fun sipping.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay, Now for dish number 2, this is a crawfish salad that goes on little brown and serve rolls. So the crawfish you can find already cleaned, cooked, and ready to go in the frozen seafood section. I found it at our local grocery store, Allen's, and
Good.
let it defrost. And I only used half a pound, and then surprise, surprise, a little bit of celery.
That's
like
a
in most-
lot. That makes a lot for a half a pound.
Yes, it
really
really does. And I did cut them. I didn't want the whole little,
Right.
especially because of the size of these rolls are itty bitty. I mean,
You
this
just want a couple bites.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then you add celery, mayonnaise, fresh lemon juice, Dijon mustard. Again, here we go with the spices.
All the different flavors.
Fresh dill, which sometimes is really hard to find. The grocery stores don't always have it.
No.
And it's not quite time to plant it yet.
No,
It
not.
is a cool
Yep.
season herb, but
It's not warm enough yet.
no. Garlic and kosher salt. You always
Okay.
have to have a little, bring all the flavors together. Smoked paprika. So here we go again with different spices.
More spices.
Yeah, and of course this one had the
Dijon mustard, too.
mustard instead of the Creole mustard.
That's nice.
So again, you're getting another mustard flavor. And I don't know how different they are, really.
Yeah, they're
I
quite-
should compare them.
You can compare them. They're quite different. So one has quite a bit more spice to it. So the Creole mustard has quite a bit more spice.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to try it. I bought it, but then just for the recipe. But a lot of times I like plain yellow mustard.
Do you?
Yeah, Chicago girl, and you only put mustard on hot dogs. Never,
yeah.
ever put
Never ketchup. Right. Exactly. Never ketchup.
Oh my gosh, and it's funny. People would just converge on you if you're out of town and you don't know, and you want to put ketchup on your hot dog.
Or you get a lot of pointing.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yes. Mustard only.
Okay.
But that's what I like. So to make our little sandwiches, I've cut the top open, and we're just going to put a little bit.
On each one.
Yeah.
And they look great. So this is something that you could do even beforehand, before your guests arrive, and make everything up so it's not...
Yes. Because really the rolls don't have to be hot.
Right.
They can be room temperature.
Just toasted at room temperature.
Yeah. I might let you do the other two. It's kind of hard from where I'm standing.
Alrighty, I can do that.
And then
To the ones that aren't cut.
I have some fresh chives. And these actually made it, they overwintered beautifully in my herb garden.
That's nice.
Yes. But it's a raised bed that's right outside our kitchen door.
Yeah, chives can. I know I used to grow chives up in Minnesota, and they overwinter really well.
Yeah. My chives, parsley, and thyme, and sage.
My
But
sage didn't do well. My
No?
sage bit the dust. Yeah, with the cold weather. However, I did cut my rosemary at the same time, and I was able to put it in water, and it's rooting now. So that's kind of nice to have fresh
Okay.
rosemary too.
A few little chives. And I've already cheated and tasted this, but if you'd like to.
I'm good. I cheated and tasted it as well.
I know
I
after
thought it was great.
it did turn out pretty good.
It did.
So, but to go with this, we have an actual cocktail.
We have a French 75, and French 75 just encompasses all flavors. I thought it would be great with this because you can make this a little bit spicy. So with the paprika, you could put in a little bit of cayenne if you do want some heat. But I thought if you did make it spicy, to back off that heat, this would just be a great example of something to make. I brought the Nolet's gin. I believe it's pronounced Nolet's. It could be Nolet. And we have the Barefoot Bubbly. So the French 75 is, an ounce of lemon juice. It's a half ounce of simple syrup, and Susan has made all this up. It's 2 ounces of dry gin, and then 5 ounces of sparkling wine. So if you want to go ahead and just start.
Well, first we're going to take a little
Mix it.
break, and as soon as we come back, we're going to make this delightful cocktail.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right.
What if there was an enterprise that was dedicated to grow local talent, especially original music with substantive content? A place where local musicians could be elevated to a larger audience through broadcasting and live performances. What if they had the benefit of professional mentoring and production offered by a world-class musician whose mission it was to help them hone and develop their performance skills, to help them realize their artistic dreams? This is our vision and our mission, to bring what ifs into reality and into your world. Stay tuned.
Welcome back.
Got it.
Okay, we are ready to make this
To
cocktail.
make that cocktail.
We have our shaker here, and it's full of ice. So what's first?
2 ounces of gin. We did not open this first.
Oh, well, let's just open that puppy.
Oh, that opened really well.
You probably brought one of the most expensive ones, but
No, I really didn't.
Darn,
I
no.
didn't. I don't remember the prices, but it is a very good gin. I believe it's from the 1600s. They've been making gin, so
oh wow,
a couple 300 years old, 300 plus
Made-
years old.
where is it from?
It's not Denmark, Netherlands.
Wow.
Sorry, it's made in the Netherlands. So something different. It's not the traditional ones that we usually have. So again, something just fun and different. Okay, what do we
Love
need?
the
2
bottle.
ounces?
2 ounces.
That's my 2 ounces anyway.
All of ours.
Pretty close. Right here.
And
No carbs, gluten-free, no sugar, for all you celiac disease.
Yeah.
That can't tolerate gluten, that's a good thing to know. Okay,
Yes,
so then
okay.
it's the lemon juice, an ounce of lemon juice. Which one is that?
and yes,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
I
You want me to
did
check?
squeeze and
So fresh
Yeah.
lemon juice, and then we've got the half ounces, no, that was a half ounce of simple syrup.
yeah, that's the simple syrup.
This is simple syrup.
Yeah.
You just want a half ounce of simple syrup.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was a half ounce. And we've got looked like half an ounce.
I think you're right. It was.
Okay, now let's just shake it up. You want to shake it or you want me to?
Go ahead. I did have a top come off on me once.
That's why I'm holding it. And I know that you're supposed to point it away from your head. Okay, here we go.
All right.
I believe with the real French 75, you would not
Okay,
worry about
and-
straining. You would just pour that in and top it off with, it's an ounce, 5 ounces of sparkling wine.
I'll let you do it
go ahead.
because I'll probably
We're
overpour.
just dumping in. There you go.
Oh, beautiful. And I know
If
that
we had something lavender, we could put that in there. A little sprig of lavender would be absolutely beautiful, and that's what would go in here too.
it would.
Yep.
Well, I know that JB, our executive producer here, really likes French 75.
She does. She mentioned that earlier.
I think I'm tasting this first.
May as well.
You know, I like it. It doesn't have that sweet flavor that vodka does.
No, it doesn't.
Oh man, that is.
And
Okay,
that's
I
why it pairs
understand.
so nice with the food too, because you don't want sweet to go with that. So
Yeah.
just a little bit to come through, and that's it. They're
Gosh.
nice.
Well, because a crawfish alone is sweet.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of your shellfish do
They're
have
sweet.
kind of a sweetness to them.
they do.
Wow, that is good. Have you tasted?
No, here I'll taste it.
I know you have to go to work, but they'll never know. We don't drink enough. It's not like we're having.
It's really good. Wow, JB, cheers. Yeah, good luck. No, I'm teasing.
I do have a couple other glasses.
Those are nice.
Okay, what we haven't talked about yet is our dessert. Okay, this was quite something else. Now, I have never done something with dough before. I've never made dough. I have avoided recipes that use yeast, but this time I did it. So these are mini king cake cupcakes, and it is an actual.
They're cute.
Aren't they cute?
They're little
King
mini
cake
cake.
dough.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
mini king cake cupcakes.
And it was fun. You know, you had to let it rise and punch it down, but you use your warm whole milk. You know, it's like whole
Okay.
milk. I have to go out and buy that. Dry yeast, and then sugar, unsalted butter, And then egg yolks. So a little bit of
Interesting.
richness, vanilla extract, lemon zest, and lemon juice.
To keep it nice and king cake-like.
Yeah, and then the flour uses regular flour and also cake flour.
Interesting that it uses both.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
would keep it a little bit lighter.
Sure.
Because a lot of those doughy roll type stuff can be kind of really doughy.
Yeah.
And then, let's see, cinnamon and kosher salt. And then we have our topping, which we'll talk about after. But, you know, you let this rise, and then you put everything together. You roll it out into like a jelly roll, or you flatten it like a 12 by 8. And then you sprinkle with the sugar and the cinnamon.
So if
the
you
cinnamon
wanted
sugar.
to, you could get little tiny babies and put them in here. You could get that
Yes.
baby in here if you wanted to.
Just make sure it's soft, like a little rubber one. You don't want to break your teeth.
It could be a gummy
That is-
bear. You do gummy bear.
The other thing is, instead of a baby, you can use a pecan.
True.
So, you know, there are other
Options.
options.
There you go.
But this, because you sprinkle it and then roll it, and then you cut it, so
Sure.
we'll take one
Kind
of
of like
these.
cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. Can't really
It is.
see, but it is just a little rolled up, and then you make the glaze. I don't know, can we see that very well? Okay. And then our glaze is powdered sugar, hot water. Let's see, you want to lightly beat an egg, and I mean, after you cook these.
Okay.
You know, you're going to roll them up,
Sure.
cut it, and then put it into your little cupcake.
Cupcake things.
Yeah.
Holders.
And then bake them. Now, like I said, this is my first time doing something using a dough. And I think as I was using my dough hook, I probably put in too much flour because at first I thought they were a little dry. So this is a learning process. But still,
That's okay. They came out
okay.
great. They came out great. They look wonderful.
They taste really good.
Yeah.
They, what I will do is cut it in half and maybe butter each side, just to give it a little. But since they sat and they've been enclosed, they seem to be okay. But great for dunking coffee. And if
Absolutely.
you wanted to do Irish coffee,
I did. Yep. I paired a wine, but an Irish coffee would be amazing with this. And two, Irish coffee, you can do a coffee with the whiskey, the Irish whiskey, and also the Baileys. Or you could just do a Baileys and Frangelico, because Frangelico, the hazelnut flavors would go really nice with this. However, I bypassed and I went straight to the wine, and I paired a Moscato d'Asti with it. So Moscato d'Astis have, they're fruity, they have some sweetness to them. It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous way to end a meal. It is bubbly. Think of fresh peaches, fresh apricots in your mouth, a real light flavor of that. And that's pretty much what you'll get. And fruit and dessert always pair perfectly together. So I think that you would absolutely love that as a pairing. Coffee,
that
to make it
sounds-
coffee, if you like to dunk, if you're a dunker, the coffee is a great idea.
Yeah.
I'm a sipper, so I sip more, and this would be
Wine.
gone in 2 bites for me, so I wouldn't be dunking too many things. But hence the wine for me.
yeah, well, it's funny. My husband makes the best Irish coffee.
Oh, very
Yeah,
good.
we went when we lived outside of San Francisco. We did go to the Buena Vista, which was the only place
Beautiful.
after the earthquake. Was 1906, I believe.
Right, 1906.
And it was still, I mean, the beautiful old woodwork, and you know, it was very
I
ornate.
can imagine. I'd not seen that.
It was pretty amazing. Well, they line up all the cups, all the cups on the counter, drop in the sugar cubes,
Sure.
and then is it the coffee and then
The whiskey.
the whiskey, and you know, then of course top it with the whipped cream.
Perfect.
It was
Is it whiskey
whiskey
first?
and then coffee. Okay.
Then coffee.
I can't remember. I didn't make it. Terry does. So, but always so good.
That's great.
You know, and to actually see where, I believe that's where it was first developed.
That could have been. I don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure.
I don't know the history of Irish
I could
coffee.
be wrong, but
Nice.
you know, maybe. And then of
And again,
course,
that would be great with that.
yeah, you know, so if you want a coffee drink or even just plain coffee with cream or coffee,
Sure.
if you don't want to do something that has alcohol in it.
You know, there are non-alcohol alternatives to this too, because you can also, I mean, you can get in a non-alcoholic Moscato. You can buy, or alcohol removed. Gin, I believe that there are hard alcohols, the vodkas, gins, bourbons that you can get that are alcohol-free now. So all of this can be done with non-alcoholic products as well. So that
We should
know,
have
with
a
the wines.
mocktail party.
Yep, absolutely. You can do a whole
bunch of
mocktail party
mocktails.
too.
Yeah,
There's
I
quite a few things you can do.
Wow. Well, I did hear that J. Lore has a Cabernet that's de-alcoholized. That's supposed to be really good.
We don't have it
But
yet, but I bet that's good.
I've heard it's good, and I keep thinking, you know, when we go, I know a restaurant that does serve it. It's like I want to try it before I say, "Can you order for this?"
Sure.
And you know, maybe buy a case. I'm not sure. But
And even the bubbly, you know, I've tried. There's a Freshenet, which is out of Spain. Freshenet does a de-alcoholized rosé and a regular bubbly, and they are absolutely wonderful. I think they taste great. You would never know that there's no alcohol in them, other than you don't have a headache the next day if you imbibe too much. But they're very, very nice.
well, I know when last Christmas, before Christmas, a friend and I went down to Undercroft, which is under the preacher's son. They just do it
Oh, yes,
seasonally.
yes, yes. Yep.
Well, and because she was driving, she asked to have mocktails made for her. And she
Smart
says,
move.
I don't have anything specific, make one up. And they did. And they were really good.
They're good.
Yeah. Then another friend and I were at Lake Point for lunch, and she got a mocktail.
They're
I
becoming
thought-
very popular now.
Well, people, I think, are becoming a little bit more
Health conscious.
health conscious
Yep.
and being careful about drinking and driving.
Yep, that's a big concern. And just drinking in general. There's dry January, so a lot of people have hopped on board for that. I don't understand why, but they do. And it's unbeknown to me. So, but that it is a trend, and too, just a whole younger generation. They do not socialize the way that we may have socialized. So
Right.
a little bit different.
I know you think back to the 50s and people having cocktail parties
Cocktail
in their
parties,
home.
right.
And, you know, your ranch house had all these doors, so you put the kids
Absolutely,
to bed and
yep.
you had your party.
Absolutely, that was a fun one.
Totally different. Yeah, so we are, you know, celebrating both Mardi Gras, but also St. Patrick's Day,
Day.
because that is coming up. I believe it's a week from Monday, and, you know, which is why we wanted to bring in and talk about Irish coffee and some of the Irish
Yes.
liqueurs, liquor and liqueur, I should say.
The Irish whiskeys, and they're really known too for their cream. You know, like the Baileys here at St. Brendan's, their Irish cream, and they're fabulous. Guinness beer. I do not have a wine pairing for. Actually, you can pair wine with corned beef and cabbage. However, just Guinness. You know, Guinness, it's the thing to do. So it's an Irish beer.
Yes.
Wine, I would go with the Sauvignon Blanc, because you have to pair that cabbage, which is kind of hard. And corned beef can be a little bit hard too.
Yeah.
Sauvignon Blanc is very versatile. You can do a New Zealand style where they're grapefruity, or you could even do a French style, which is a little bit easier and lighter. But you can do either of those, and otherwise just go to Guinness. It always works out.
Yeah. Do you want to make it green?
You can make it green. You can make it green. You can make it any color you want, really. But for St. Patty's Day, it ought to be green.
It
Yes.
should.
Yep, absolutely
Again,
should.
being from Chicago, they always dyed the
At
river
the
green.
river.
It was green anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, but go ahead,
made it
put your
more
dye
green.
in. They did.
Yeah.
It
And
was
they do it
fun.
every year still.
Well, I just want to say thank you to Leslie for taking time out of her day to join us, and she took the time to put these together. I think this has been very educational. I've learned a lot. And
It's fun. It's
I really
fun. Thank you for having me.
We'll have to have you back to do mocktails and
We'll do
maybe
mocktails
some
and
wine pairings down the road.
Absolutely. That'd be a fun time.
It was.
It's always
especially-
fun. Anytime you have wine, it's always fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
how can it not be?
Oh, okay. Well, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope everybody has enjoyed this. And do remember, the one way that you can help us, support us, is to subscribe. It costs nothing. And volunteers. We're always looking for volunteers. Thank you, and we will see you next month. It'll be Easter, but still not sure what's going to be on the menu.
We'll hop into Easter.
Oh, good one.
There you go.
All righty.